I'm Susan McGinnis in the Energy News Center. I'm joined now by Bob McLeod. He is Energy Minister for Canada's Northwest Territories. Bob, thanks so much for coming in.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, you are visiting the U.S. For a few different reasons. One is you're promoting natural gas through some different proposed pipelines from Canada. Tell us about that and the status of these projects.
Sure. I'm here promoting the McKenzie pipeline, which is presently undergoing regulatory review. It's a pipeline that will go from the McKenzie Delta and will join up in Alberta, 15 kilometers inside Alberta, into an existing pipeline network that will reach into the United States. We're promoting Arctic natural gas as a transitional fuel, and we're promoting using clean burning natural gas as an alternative. And one of the big concerns we have is climate change. As we are certainly seeing the effects of global warming in the Northwest Territories, and with clean burning Arctic natural gas, we see it as a very good alternative to coal and oil, depending on the circumstances.
And a couple of other options there is the Denali pipeline, joint venture of BP and ConocoPhillips, and also the TransCanada ExxonMobil option there. With the Gulf spill raising a lot of questions about oil dependency, do you see natural gas as a chance to reduce that dependence?
Well, depending on what the final outcome is, and we think that it's very important to find out what exactly caused the incident in the Gulf of Mexico, because there are certainly implications for our offshore in the Beaufort Sea. But I guess depending on whether the moratorium will be extended or will continue for a long time into the future, our expectation is that the United States will have to start looking at some alternatives.
And you see natural gas
and we see natural gas as a big part of that.
What is your sense of natural gas coming from Canada now that the U.S. has all of these shale finds? I mean, we have natural gas from shale plentiful in the lower 48. What does that do for prospects of getting your gas down here?
Well, we have a lot of shale gas in Canada as well, and our research has indicated that the demand for energy will continue to grow, and that even with an abundance of shale gas, there'll be need for all forms of energy, and the Arctic natural gas from both the McKenzie pipeline and the Alaska pipeline will be needed in the future.
In the U.S.?
U.S. and Canada.
Are you guys also considering exporting gas as LNG to Asia or elsewhere?
Well, I think that in our view, it makes more sense to ship it by pipeline, although over the years we've always been told that LNG is the main competition to our McKenzie pipeline, but in our view it makes more financial sense to ship it by pipeline to the United States.
Does Canada see natural gas as a true way to lower greenhouse gas emissions? I mean, among the choices, I know Canada's trying to shut down all power plants and turn to renewables. There's some hydro and other things going on there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we have an abundance of hydro because of all of the water that we have, but certainly natural gas is one of the best ways to go.
What about the prospect of deep water drilling off the shores of your country in the Arctic? BP and Exxon are looking at projects in Canadian waters. As we can see, technology for drilling has certainly advanced. Technology for oil spill response it seems to be lacking right now, we're discovering. The Arctic presents big obstacles with the prospect of an under ice spill.
Well, the Beaufort Sea, there was a lot of drilling activity in the 1970s and early 80s, but it's a big concern, although our regulations are very strict. There's a requirement for same season relief well drilling, but the drilling open water season is very short. Like, you have to drill within 28 days, so unless you find ways to make sure another drilling rig is there, because you look at the Gulf of Mexico where they drill about 4,000 wells a year. In the Beaufort Sea you might drill one well in 5 years.
So you think regulations are stricter there?
Oh, for sure. I mean, because there is a requirement for same season relief drilling, but our National Energy Board is undertaking a review of our regulations to ensure that we have the best practices. And as you say, it's very cold up there, and we have Arctic pack ice, so if there is a spill and oil gets under the ice, there's really no way to get it out.
There's got to be a huge environmental movement to try to stop that, this move.
For sure, and we have to make sure that we have the best technology, and I think the spill in the Gulf of Mexico will be a game changer.
So are you in favor of deep water drilling done safely off of the Arctic?
Well, I think that we have to have continued drilling, but we have to make sure it's under the right conditions. We have to be very cautious, and we have to make sure that we have the best practices.
Meanwhile, we had FERC approving a plan by BP and ConocoPhillips to start soliciting interest in the other two pipelines, the Denali Trans-Canada. So open season is going to happen on those. Now, what do you see as the outcome of that? We have sort of two competing pipelines. Do you see one in your sights, or do you see some sort of combination happening?
Well, the way I see it is that they're both going to open season. One proposal is a year ahead of the other. My expectation is that somewhere down the road they'll combine into one project proposal.
It's all a matter of what kind of contracts they end up getting?
That's correct, yeah.
During the season. Okay. Anything else you wanted to add, sir?
Well, you know, what we find is from Canada, especially northern Canada, when we come to the United States, we find we learn a lot on what's happening. I think that the last time I was here, I listened to a speech by Dr. Chu, and his prediction was that we would all be living in a carbon-constrained world, and I think that natural gas will play a large part in that, and that's what we're here promoting.
Okay. Bob McLeod, Energy Minister for Canada's Northwest Territories, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your insight. And I'm Susan McGinnis in the Energy News Center.